God's Decision by Afaq Sami. We lived in a part of the densely populated city of Karachi in which we believed no one could harm us. Here, no one knew anything about anyone, who he was or what he did. Nobody needed to know about each other because those are the activities of idle people. Also, we never felt any such need. We did not bother who was our target. It was just a game of numbers. We were three, you, me, and him, and there were 5 rooms in the flat. We were ordered to always live in separate rooms, and when we were to go out for a job, we were together in the central room. We were not fully acquainted with one another. No one knew where the other had come from. Then came the time we had been waiting for. We were ordered to get ready. The city of two colors, one side of the hill was different from the other side. It had different colors in each corner. It had been divided into parts. Sometimes one part was closed, sometimes the other, and sometimes another. But we were not bothered by it. Sometimes the people of one side died, and sometimes the people of the other side died. The area where people died was closed. However, if someone moaned or called a strike, a big part of the city was paralyzed. It happened when we worked at a stretch. Then, after an interval of some days, we went out to do our jobs. All were accustomed to the miserable conditions of the city. The authorities of the city began to lose their influence. However, it was very rare that a spark of fire reached our part of the city. If it happened, it was brought under control at once. They thought that the human beings who lived here were more important than others. Perhaps this area had no identity of its own, but the people had their identity, and then we were ordered to leave our houses. We were unaware of the source of the orders, and we had never tried to find out who was issuing these orders. To do so was not included in the job agreement. Some people said he, not him. He is not the one. He is another person who issues orders to him, who then issues the orders to us. I had heard that he ran a school for the mentally handicapped. Then I came to know that he had a business abroad. We were his employees and he took care of our needs. It was enough for us. Every person has to do something or the other to survive. If we kill 2 or 4 useless people for this, what wrong did we do to anybody? People are, after all, destined to die. It does not matter whether we kill them or God kills them. It is his decision. We are nobody to interfere. He also wants annihilation for eternal life. He wants to kill all human beings. That night we performed our task. We went to various areas and fired our guns indiscriminately, without any purpose and without any provocation. We heard some wailing and crying amidst the cracks of the bullets. These sounds were part of the routine. They were not painful for us. We had no permission to feel anything. Also, we had nothing to do with those who died. We did not bother whether the dying ones were men, women, or children, young or old. We did not bother about their language, race, caste, tribe, or religion. We returned. Nobody stopped us on the way. I had heard that in that area there were some people like us whom nobody stops no matter what they do. We were all free. We switched on the TV in the central common room. Baseless and absurd news was being telecast regarding the incidents. We talked with one another minimally and only when necessary. We had a restriction on talking too much. We continued to drink coffee with disgust. Suddenly, the news was telecast, for which we were waiting very anxiously. He raised the volume. He smiled. I swallowed a piece of pizza and, after taking a sip of coffee, began to watch closely. A channel was showing CCTV footage. We began to evaluate our performance. We started pointing out each other's mistakes and began to argue with one another. We were very excited and we rejoiced. The anchors were more excited than we were. They were calling us devils, terrorists, murderers, cruel, ruthless, beast, heinous, and so on. They were leaving no stone unturned to create hatred against us in the hearts of the people, so that they might shoot us, but we were laughing. He spoke. Behold, I waved my repeater gun in a victorious way facing the camera so that they may identify me. They will now search for these faces, despite knowing that our faces were not real. I said, why am I feeling no fear today? Oh, mister, in our profession, he who is afraid is as good as dead. At that very moment, the TV began to telecast news about a Bollywood item song. We laughed heartily. In the last hours of the night, when we went to our rooms, I checked my room thrice times. For the first time, to check that the door was shut properly, even though we always locked our room doors before sleeping. Our rooms had been given decorated in such a way that it seemed as if it was night, even during the day. The walls and doors had been painted in dark colors, as was the ceiling, like in a film radio. The window panes were black, and the glass was covered with dark curtains. The nature of our job was such that we remained awake during the night and slept soundly during the day. The murder and massacre in the city continued to increase. We were to kill 7 persons daily. We were safe, nor was it difficult for us. The situation in the city was favorable to us, and some powerful, notable men were our supporters and helpers. Nobody had the courage to lay their hands on us. You had once said that you suspected that they knew about our flat and they had identified us. He had become indignant upon hearing those words. Why was that night, which had changed by then into morning, frightening me? I wet the bed in fright. That night we had shut ourselves in our rooms after getting angry at one another. We did not talk to one another for several weeks. We just looked at each other with silent eyes and did our work like robots. Then orders were issued. Now take rest. We forgot everything and engaged ourselves in entertainment, as if nothing had happened. Several big events passed when we expected to receive orders, but no orders were issued. No one knows why he did not give orders. Then, when all became normal, we received the same message. Quickly, we all got ready. We cleaned our guns, we went out of the house, reached the spot we had been told about, and began to do our work. During that time, our ears were heedless to any sound. But I saw a person before this. I had never seen anyone dying after shooting him. We were neither allowed to, nor did we need to do so. But my eyes unintentionally met the eyes of the dying young man and his young and pretty wife who was spread out over his body, her wailing and mourning beauty draped over him. His fear had changed into terror. He and his young 5 or 6 year old son looked at me. I looked at them, and I began to feel my hands go numb. Colorful packages were lying scattered near them, which showed that they had come out to celebrate a birthday. Gifts wrapped in colorful paper and unused balloons. I was startled when my companion shook me and began to seat me in the vehicle. When we reached the house, he reprimanded me. What did you do there? You are forgetting the rules and regulations of your job. Oh, you just reminded us. We were ordered to shoot you in such a case. We also made a mistake. Both of you made a mistake. He was enraged. He was our chief. He was the actual recipient of the orders. That is why we kept mum. It was his right to say such words. Then, after a while, we watched our footage on various channels and kept making the usual comments. When we got tired, we shut ourselves in our rooms. I don't know how long I was awake and thinking. I knew that I was violating my agreement. I was revolting against the agreement by thinking about the dying. I had seen such a strange brightness in the eyes of the dying young man that did not extinguish until his last breath. I had heard that it was not so. Eyes like a fallen star become dark after a flash. But that had not happened. They had contained no imploration, no pleading, no mercy, no fear. They only had a pain in them that reflected that a dream had been shattered, a dream that he wanted to see realized, and was closing his eyes reluctantly. I got up and began to pace around the room restlessly. There was nothing in the room that could have soothed me. Our weapons were locked away in a safe. The weapons were retrieved from us after each performance. We were not allowed to come out of our rooms after we had entered our rooms at night. The room had filled with the fragrance of shisha and wine. My restlessness reached its height. I wanted to end my life. But there was nothing in the room which would have eased my task. At that moment, something happened that had not happened before. There was a knock at the main door of the flat, or it was a knock at the door of my room. It was you, him, or someone else. Either he who issued orders to us, or he who issued orders to him. For the first time, I stepped forward to open the door, knowing that we had been instructed to stay in our beds in such a situation. But I failed to open the door. It dawned upon me that someone had closed the door from outside, or it had closed automatically right after we entered our rooms at night. Now, I could not do anything except obey the divine will. I spread myself on my bed, fear after fear, thought after thought, wandering in the jungle of thoughts. I slept forgetting all, once and for all. A TV anchor is revealing a secret with a smile on his face. A dead body has been found in a flat near the shore of the sea. After a while, there is more breaking news. Not one dead body, but three dead bodies, two men and one woman. A policeman is issuing a statement. The two of them look like they could be foreigners. Some people are raising questions. Who were these people? Where did they come from? Since when had they been living here? How many violent incidents of the city were they involved in? Some people did know. They only knew that we were living here for this task. But they would never know who we were, because we ourselves did not know who we were, and why we did this, and whom we obeyed. Perhaps it was the decision of God for the people of the city who were together but did not want to live together.